Look at it. Welcome to another episode of Beer, Wine, and Spirits. Today, we're at Belle of Dayton. Introduce yourself.
I'm Mike LaSalle. I'm one of the owners of the Belle of Dayton Distillery. It's my brother Murphy, my brother Tim, and myself. We make artisan distilled spirits in the Oregon District right here in Dayton, Ohio. And we can't wait to show you guys more about what we have, what we're offering, and how we're different.
Now, see, we've been by this place a dozen times, and I've seen the building, I've smelled it out front. It's wonderful. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk out here in the back, check out what they've got, and stay tuned for more Beer, Wine, and Spirits. So what is this?
That's the distilling process here at the Belle of Dayton Distillery.
Right.
That's what goes into, basically it's a very quick, what goes into making each batch of every one of our products. What you're walking into, this is the production side of the distillery. Currently, we're distilling our 4-grain Ohio rye whiskey. That's literally the opposite of a bourbon in every way we possibly could. And we reverse engineered it. This is going into the hearts of our run. So we've already collected our heads, we're onto our hearts, and then we'll go to our tails. And if you want to, you can taste it right off the still. This is going to have less flavor in it. That's going to have a lot less flavor in that product. That's a very high proof.
Oh my goodness.
Give me one
That's
second.
very sweet too.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Bourbon barrel aged rum out of the barrel for you. So this is our artisan distilled 4-grain Ohio rye whiskey. Like I said, we did it the exact opposite of a bourbon in every way we could. Instead of using 51% corn, we did 51% rye. Instead of using 3 grains, which is very traditional of 95% of all bourbons, we did an additional grain as well. So we've got a 51% rye whiskey that has, instead of yellow corn, we did a sweet white corn. Instead of using 3 grains, we did the soft red winter wheat, and then we follow that up with the malted barley for our enzyme conversion. That's what takes our starches and turns them down into fermentable sugars as well. So we have a sweet white corn 4-grain rye whiskey that we're extremely excited to share with you. Right now, we're in the basically we let that still go down. We're going to get more flavor out of this product. Our overall spirit run, our goal is to get it between about 110 to 120 proof. More flavors are going to come through in that spirit. With the flavors, you're going to get a lot deeper. You're going to get more of an artisan distilled spirit, and you're going to get one that really is going to mature in new bourbon or new whiskey barrels or American charred oak barrels.
So what does the white corn bring to you? Is it a sweeter flavor?
Yeah, white corn is a little bit more expensive. It is extremely different. A sweet white corn is going to add a different flavor profile to the spirit, a little bit sweeter profile, and it's one that is extremely rare as well.
Well, I'm kind of interested about that because I know myself, I prefer the white corn. The white corn is literally better.
We like it as well, and we thought it was unique, it was different. It's not something that you can buy from like an MGP in Indiana.
Right.
A lot of what's being made out there is either being made by a few large distilleries or by a contract distiller by the name of MGP in Indiana. It's just not something we wanted. You can literally go to them, buy barrels, bottle it, put a label on it, and call it your own. We wanted, when people drank Dayton 4-grain Ohio rye whiskey,
exactly,
we wanted them to know that's not only our mash bill, that's fermented here, that's mashed here, that's distilled here, and that's barrel aged here. We don't finish it in barrels.
Exactly.
We do everything right here at the distillery. So it's a true artisan craft spirit, more like what you would have got back in the mid to late 1700s or 1800s. So it is a very different product. Back in the day, they didn't call artisan or craft.
No.
The way it was.
That was locally made.
It was just the way it was. When you drank whiskey at your local pub down the street, it was made probably up the street.
It was.
So we're taking this back to the way American craft distillation was before Prohibition. That's what the Belle of Dayton's really all about. Getting it back to our roots, our American roots. This was one of the first industries in America, first commercialized industries in America, because we love alcohol.
Now, how did you guys find this building? I've heard a couple different stories. What's the backstory?
It was available.
Okay. Yeah. But the name, where did
Okay, I apologize. The name Belle of Dayton was actually unearthed. It was a bottle found underneath the ground over on 3rd Street. Belle of Dayton was a whiskey being made before Prohibition. Don's Pawn Shop over on 3rd Street still has it. They're huge history buffs, awesome guys. And if you want to see the original Belle of Dayton bottle, you can go over there and they will show it to you. It was actually found underneath the ground in between. There was actually a tunnel, air tunnel or a vent tunnel or whatever going over across the street into a forgotten speakeasy. There were quite a few of those around America at the time during Prohibition. But that was just one that was downtown, and it was a bottle that was etched with the Belle of Dayton name on it, and we thought it was awesome, not only because we're from Dayton, we've lived here the majority of our lives, but because it gets back to that American craft distillery, the way things used to be before Prohibition. That's why even today on bar shelves, most of those spirits are being made overseas.
Yeah.
They're not American craft products.
No.
Most of them are being made overseas because they weren't shut down due to Prohibition. Now, with a lot of the changing laws, it's making it easier for guys like us to start up a distillery again like it used to be made.
Finally.
Yes. So we're going back to our true American roots.
Okay, so now we've got your backstory. We've seen your product, how it's being made. What's in the future?
Just trying to stay up with production. We are going to be distributing our product throughout the state of Ohio. We were just picked up by Southern Wine and Spirits of Ohio, Southern Glacier Wine and Spirits of Ohio.
Is that a big distributor?
They're one of the largest in the country. They are doing, the Ohio division is actually distributing our product throughout the state. Of course, the state of Ohio distributes. There are marketing agents for the state of Ohio. But they will be marketing throughout the state of Ohio. Our product will be being shipped in the next 2.5 months everywhere in Ohio at all the liquor stores.
Isn't that crazy? Man, you guys have got to be pumped. That's nuts.
It's exciting for us.
So I guess the next year is going to be huge.
We hope.
Yeah.
That's all you can hope.
Yeah, that's all you can hope for. Well, you know, locally sourced product, locally produced. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, we're trying to make a spirit that you can be proud of. When you drink it, the reason we got
it's just not stuff in a bottle, man. Anybody can drink stuff in a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of love that goes into making each and every batch. I mean, when you drink it, our thing is, hey, we made that. You know, I want to make sure that I'm making the highest grade, or we want to make sure we're making the highest.
Yeah, we got to include. Yeah.
That's Tim over there.
Yeah, Tim.
He is our head distiller.
Yeah, we got to squeeze you on camera for a minute anyway.
Tim's our head distiller. Tim's here 60 to 80 hours a week. So when you go past the doors, of the Belle of Dayton Distillery. He'll be here past 12 o'clock midnight. He'll be here before 5 in the morning. It's a full production craft distillery. The majority of our time is spent making spirits, although we do open the distillery up on Friday evenings, and we have an advanced tour and tasting at 7 o'clock.
When's that? Is that already starting? Are we doing that now all the time?
Yes, yeah, that's current. We are doing that every Friday evening. You can come in for a tasting. And on Saturdays, we have the advanced tour and tasting. We are limited to 30 guests, so you do have to pre-register for
okay.
it. But yeah, we have that every Saturday.
Now, is that
It
on
lasts about an
Facebook
hour.
and stuff? Can you find that information out and about?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's just belleofdayton.com, B-E-L-L-E, belleofdayton.com,
Right.
and you just go to tours. And it's
Okay.
super, super easy. You just register for your tour, and you kind of get this whole full sensory tour. Kind of the aromas you're smelling now, when fermentation and
People have,
distillation's
that's the
happening.
thing, that's the greatest thing. You know, you could see this. This is when we need smell-o-vision. It smells as sweet as it can be down here.
If you want, you can actually see an active fermentation. Just step up here, be careful. This is an active fermentation. We dumped the yeast on it last evening, so it's a full active fermentation where that
Isn't
yeast
that
is eating the sugars. This is a completely fully fermented. This is about 4 days in. Tim has half the batch over there in the still, and that's what we're distilling. This will be distilled tomorrow, so that's completely done.
That water, that layer right there. Now, was that where it started out at?
Yes.
Like the flood stage right there?
You got it exactly. It was actually a 400-gallon mash. We do about 200 gallons of our mash in the still at a time, and artisan distill out the heads, hearts, and tails. So that will turn into what you saw over there, the clear high proof spirit that will average out at about 110 to 120 proof. Yeah, that's active fermentation. So
Isn't that so cool? It's alive.
That's like seeing your baby come alive.
That's your baby right there, man. And you literally like your baby coming alive right there.
Depending on how much sugar we got out of our distiller's beer.
So we start over here, and are we pumped to this one?
No, actually, that's our heating system. That's our steam jacket. So basically what we'll do is we'll boil water, the steam comes over, and it heats the mash. As the mash comes up, we have a 4-plate column. Those are basically fully operational in the first part of the run, and then we open them up to pot distill it to get more flavor out of the spirit. And then this is our shotgun style condenser. This is what a lot of people refer to as the worm.
Ah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
So basically you've got water coming through the bottom part of here. This is extremely cold right here. You got water going the reverse way, whereas the steam is coming over on the top.
Right.
The steam's coming over on our pre-condenser. Drops down back down into liquid form here due to the opposite flow of water returning that steam
Now,
back.
when you was back in school, did you know you was going to be doing science? Because that's what you're doing. This
Yeah,
it's science, man.
Practical, everyday use science that creates
with flavor.
alcohol.
It's science with flavor. God. Now, this big device right here, not only, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a nice piece of equipment. Now, where do you get something like
It
that?
makes some great alcohol.
I mean, do you guys special order that crazy stuff?
Yeah,
or-
everything, especially now with the craze of the spirits movement, the distilling
Right.
movement, you do have to work with somebody that does this on an everyday basis. This isn't something that we could have compiled ourselves.
No.
We're not still designers or makers.
Right.
We purchased it through a basically a guy that put everything together.
Okay.
It's great. It works well. It's great.
And it's
We
pretty.
think it will pay off in the end.
And it's pretty too.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we gonna go taste.
Yeah, if you
All
want
right.
to see the barrel room, we could do that.
Well, let's go back here. We'll go see the barrel room.
Okay.
And then we'll go to break, and then we'll taste something.
Tim, which barrel did you take? What was
It's right over there.
which one?
It's right up there. It's barrel number 1.
Oh my goodness. All right, now we're into the inner sanctum, I can tell.
Okay, so what we've got here is you'll notice two distinct different barrels. You'll notice
old barrel.
You'll notice an old used bourbon barrel
Right.
specifically. At the time we opened our distillery, we did not have and we were not in the queue for getting new bourbon barrels as of yet.
Right.
So we actually got a hold of a cooperage in Kentucky that had some used bourbon barrels that we could get our hands on. He enjoyed our rum, so he was able to lose a couple barrels to us, and they didn't get shipped to Scotland. The majority of these barrels are all shipped to Scotland. These are AAA barrels. They're Class A barrels. You can't just use any barrel, any used barrel for maturing whiskey or a rum. It needs to be a Class A barrel because otherwise it will leak everywhere. It's much different than a beer barrel that can be used for beers. Yeah. You can actually have even cracks in the staves for maturing beer because it still has a lot of unfermentable sugars. That's why when you spill beer on the ground, you got that stick.
Right.
We all know that from our college days.
Exactly.
You got that stick on the kitchen floor.
The sticky floor.
Exactly. But that actually seals the barrel, whereas high-proof spirits will actually fall out of each one.
It'll seep.
It will. You'll end up with an empty barrel if you
Yeah.
don't have a Class A barrel. So these are our used bourbon barrels.
All right, now I gotta ask you, don't the old ones taste better than the new ones?
It's a different profile
Is
altogether. Yeah, you certainly don't want to, in our opinion, wouldn't want to mature our rum in a new barrel. You're going to get too much oakiness, too much flavor from the barrel is going to come through.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
You're going to get too much of that. You're going to hide the sweetness of the spirit altogether, in my opinion.
Right.
And then you don't want to age it too long either.
It's going to pick up too much barrel.
Yeah, it's going to pick up too much barrel with our bourbon barrel aged rum.
Right.
With our 4-grain Ohio rye whiskey, to call it a 4-grain, or to call it a rye whiskey, I should say, you have to have a new charred American oak barrel. That is by definition. The federal government regulates our definitions in our spirits, and that's why it's great. In America, it's great because you know exactly what you're getting. You can look up the definition for making a rye whiskey right on the TTB's government website. And everybody has to abide by those rules. So it's pretty awesome because you know what you're buying in terms of what goes into the spirit. You'll notice here this is an alligator char. It actually looks like the back of an alligator.
Yeah.
That's a 4+ char level. All of these barrels will have a 4+ char level in it.
Now the 4+, is that like the depth that the char goes into the wood, I'm thinking?
Exactly. And you would want that as a commercial distiller because you want to use that char level as natural activated carbon where the spirit goes in and out
Right.
over the seasons.
Now, do you roll these? Do these get rolled? Are you like the beer people?
They sit right the way it is.
Okay.
They sit right the way it is.
Is there an angel share?
Yes, there absolutely is. There's evaporation that happens. There's evaporation that happens over time as the barrel sits. The percentage changes a little bit with each season. What goes in and out of the barrel. But yeah, there is what's called an angel.
The angel share. Yeah. Everybody talks about that. It just disappears.
Yeah, it's just
It goes away.
it's for the gods. I guess.
Exactly. So which one of these is your old one?
So these are all used bourbon barrels right here. These all are maturing the bourbon barrel aged rum, which Tim actually took the oldest sample from barrel 1 out. We haven't tried it in several months, so I'm excited.
That has a nice color.
I'm extremely excited to try it. but you will be the first person to
like
ever taste it.
almost a slight red amber cast to it. I like that.
So we don't want to fully over mature that product, and the reason being is we want you to taste the pot distilled rum. It's going to be extremely different than anything you've ever had. That's with a true 53-gallon used bourbon barrel. No coloring, flavorings are added to that. That is just the spirit at distiller's proof put into the 53-gallon used bourbon barrel.
All right, so when we get back from break, we're going to taste some of that.
I'm excited.
All right, so everybody stay tuned for more beer, wine, and spirits down here at Belle of Dayton.
How's it go, bastard? I was outside Atlanta with our horses lightly packed. Had a Winchester in my saddle and a shotgun on my back. 44 was strapped here to my thigh. Had my Bowie in its sheath. There was murder in our eyes. We were riding like the wind. We were riding like the wind. Well, I rode with Bill Anderson from the Missouri plains to kill the Union soldiers and to keep our rebel name. Some men called us sinners, some men called us saints. Some men called us murderers, but never to our face. We were riding like the wind. We were riding like the wind. We were riding like the wind, hoping heaven would let us in. When we came up to the end of the trail.
So you've got 3 steps in distillation. You've got your heads, you've got your hearts, and you've got your tails. Your heads, a lot of those compounds and byproducts of making the distilling the spirit are right in the very, very beginning. You'll notice there's a huge difference between heads and tails. You'll notice how quickly the heads actually clarify versus the tails. This is about 30%. This is about 190 proof for, this is about 190 proof, this is about 60 proof here. So this is about as high as we will ever distill. That's right off the very front. Now that doesn't make a good whiskey. You'll notice a lot of moonshiners will be like, oh, see, that clarifies real quick.
Right.
That's what makes a good whiskey. Well, that's not the case. I would never want to drink this. When you smell it,
Why would you not want to drink it?
it'll give you a massive hangover.
Really?
But that's going to have almost a nail polish remover profile to it.
Ew. That doesn't smell really good.
That will
does it?
literally take the paint off of a bicycle water bottle.
I guess now where does this come in the process?
That's right before 78 degrees Celsius. So everything going up to 77 degrees Celsius is going to be your heads. And as it transfers over, there's going to be a mesh of the heads and the hearts of the product. So the end part of the heads will actually go back in with the next batch because there's still some nice high-grade ethanol in there. This is your hearts right here. This is going to be what you want in your end spirit. This is what goes into the barrel. And this is what you smell. Got that really high white corn nose to it, and got that whiskey finish.
Now that smells nice.
Yeah, that's what you want going into your barrel. And then you've got your tails. This is low proof tails. Still a lot of nice flavor, a lot of nice alcohol in this product. But the flavor compounds in it are extremely different. That's what's going to make a nice, and that will go back into the next batch.
Completely
That's
different.
Certainly
Completely.
not something you want in your M product right here.
Right.
But it's got a nice flavor, and that is what you're going to throw back in with your next batch of Distiller's beer.
Now, why do you throw that back in?
It's got nice ethanol and flavor compounds in it as well.
You've already distilled flavor into it.
It's got flavor in it.
Right.
It's not really distilled into it. It's got flavor in it, and it's got a lot of good ethyl alcohol as well.
Right.
So that would be a crime to throw this away.
Oh yeah.
So
what do you do with this other stuff that tastes funky?
The very beginning of the heads are going to be completely thrown out. The middle, as it's meshing into the hearts, that will be thrown back in with the next mash of
Right.
finished Distiller's beer, along with your tails as well. So
that's one of the reasons this stuff is so expensive, because you throw all this stuff away.
the very beginning of it is certainly not something you want in your end speed.
No, it's a very heavy kind of odd smell. Like you said, nail polish or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was odd. All right, so we have the heads, we have the hearts, and the tails. You know, the tails didn't smell that bad.
No, they've got a lot of nice flavor.
All right, so now we have the explanation. Thank you, man, so much. You know, we'll probably put this on tonight. This is valuable information down here at Belle of Dayton.
Sounds good.